What happens if you find out that you're throwing an awful lot of money down the trash that you could be turning around and making into edible food? This is my whole goal in this year. Last year,
This is our journey. Welcome to the Betancourt's homestead. Oh, hi! Hey, let me show you what I did over the summer. It's the first time I ever did it. Let me get you out of the cold. That is better. You look like you were freezing in there. So this last year, I decided that I was going to focus on keeping food out of the landfill and using absolutely as much of the food as I possibly could. So what did I do? The first thing that I did was I looked for friends that were slaughtering their animals, beef and stuff, because I had a lot of friends who were raising cows. And so this is tallow. It comes from beef fat. And it's like $8 to $16 a pound on Amazon because you can't buy it in the grocery store where I live. So you have to render it yourself or buy it online. But it's just coming from beef fat. So I'm thinking, how do they do that? And then there's bacon grease. So I already saved my bacon grease. This is our open container of bacon grease. When we're making bacon on the stove, we take the bacon grease and we pour it here, and you can see there's some little bacon bits, and it strains through the coffee filter. It's just a coffee filter, and in here. And when this gets full, we cap it and we store it in the fridge. And then when we go to make like sauteing veggies or making flour tortillas, this is amazing for flour tortillas. This is what we use for all of the fat that we're going to cook with, not bake, cook. This is called schmaltz. It's chicken fat. And this I started rendering myself after how many chickens have I raised and slaughtered? And I threw away all the fat. Literally, as you're boiling it, you're skimming off the fat and you're throwing it away. No, don't do that. It is an amazing source of fat for you and your house and cooking. I make flour tortillas with it. I saute veggies with it, all kinds of things. Their chicken fat is valuable, and that's free because you would be throwing it away. So you're saving it from the landfill or down the drain. Ooh, don't put it down the drain. And you can use it. I store that one if I'm not going to use it in the next few weeks. I store it in my freezer until I get ready to use it. Now, let me show you what else. So when we get steaks or meat or any kind of beef in the house and I have any leftover fat, I cut the fat off and I immediately stick it in a Ziploc bag and I freeze the fat. And then I take it out and cut it into little chunks and render it. I'm going to show you that whole process in a minute. This is all the tallow, which is what they call rendered beef fat tallow. And this is bars of tallow also. So these are just like bars of butter. You can cut off what you need, fry, make French fries with it. You can even make saddle soap with it. We are going on an adventure. I'm so excited! So I have a sweet friend that had some cows and pigs, and she asked me if I wanted some bones or some, and I asked her what she was doing with the fat, and she said nothing. Why? And I was like, can I have it? And I made a deal with her, and I am going to go pick up the fat so we can make some tallow. Let's get going. I'm back in the driveway. I'm getting ready to start my day officially. We have 2 boxes of beef fat that is going to be turned into tallow, and we will talk about tallow in the next video. But I have my 1 box of pig fat, and that is going to be turned into lard. So a lot of rendering, a lot of clarifying, and a little bit of more research to do, but I am really super excited because I also went into the grocery store while I was there. So here's the deal I made. She's giving me all of the fat, and I am turning around and rendering it into tallow and lard and making it shelf stable for her, and I give her 50% and I keep 50%. That's pretty much a standard deal when I'm doing anything, or when farmers are doing something. They give you the product and then you turn around and do all the work to produce another product, and then you give them 50% of it. So here's to working on it, you guys. It's going to be a long process. Okay, we're starting it. We have our first box in the house. And that's exactly what it looks like. Oh. Let's get started. There are two methods to rendering beef fat into tallow. One is the wet method, which you add a quart of water to the stock pot, and the other one is a dry method where you don't. I'm actually going to do the dry method first, and if I don't like it, then I will do the wet method. The reason I'm choosing to do the dry method rather than the wet is because some people have complained that the wet takes longer and that it does introduce some spoilage, like it spoils faster. So I'm going to try the dry method where I don't add any water to it at all, and let's get started. The next step, yeah, I need to get serious. Okay, the next step is cutting all of the meat off of this and cutting it into smaller chunks, sticking it in the stock pot, and then simmering it on low and rendering it down, and then we start straining it. It has now been about 40 minutes, maybe an hour on the stove, and this is what we have so far. It is melting away pretty good. You want to stir it every once in a while because you do not want it to get stuck and burnt on the bottom. I have been straining it over here in the other pot you can see, and I'm just going to keep working it. Almost all of the fat in this batch is gone. I have a couple more spots to go. I have 3 bags, 4 bags total out of that 1 box left to go. I went ahead and cut everything up. I have total of 5 bags, probably about 5.5 of these bags out of that 1 box. I took all the meat off. This is what I have discarded. So before I upload this video, I need to let you know that I am actually doing 2 methods of preserving the tallow. I'm rendering it the same way on both situations. It's just one I'm going to let sit on the counter, and the other one I'm going to pressure can. I have read many books dating all the way back into the early of the 1900s when people started pressure canning, and all the way to current. And there's 2 methods. So I'm going to try both of them, and I'm going to keep them on the shelf, and I'm going to see which one goes rancid first. Just to clarify, in case anybody wants to say, oh no, you have to pressure can it, or the other group that says, oh, you can't pressure can it. I'm just letting y'all know I'm doing both methods, and I'm doing a test for me. You guys choose what you want to do. I'm all good with that. I'm good with however you guys choose to work in your kitchen. It's all personal preference. And we're at the tail end phase of this day, and I will be doing it again. I am wiping the rims with vinegar to clean. Let me show you what we've got. This is the tallow. I've given it an inch headspace, which is the same thing that I give the chicken broth. I am drying the lids before I put them on because fat and oil don't mix. Oil and water don't mix. And we're gonna stick it in the canner. We're gonna lock the lid down. There you go. Lid is on. We're going to increase the temperature to high. We're going to let it steam for 10 minutes. Then we are going to put the weight on it. I do a weight of 10 pounds per pressure. For the area that I'm in, I'm at about 130 feet above sea level. And then we're going to let it reach pressure and time it for 20 minutes after it's reached pressure. And then we will take it out and we will see what it looks like. They have just come out. Welcome to day 2 of processing tallow. It is a tedious, long processing job. Yes, I am actually washing the outside of the ones that I pressure canned yesterday. I have 2 jars already sitting off to the side of ones that I have already processed today. Those aren't pressure canned, those are just sitting waiting to seal. So you saw what it looked like when it just came out of the pressure canner. This is what it looks like now. It is solid. It's just solid. Like, it looks good. That is what I got yesterday from the batch that I did. I got 7 pints. This is my leftovers. You will have this, I think they call it crackle if it was like a pig. I'm pretty sure somebody told me you could eat this, although I'm not going to, not right now. This is my second batch that's literally simmering inside. We're not going to open the pot. And this is what goes in after I've strained and strained and strained it. It goes into there, and then after that, it gets poured into this. That is just beautiful and gold. Like I said, that is the second method of how I am canning it. I'm just capping and sealing that one. And we're gonna see which one lasts the longest or which ones I like the best. So, uses for tallow. People are asking me, what would you use tallow for? I hear tallow is great for French fries, for frying French fries. I hear it's great for cooking fat. Think Crisco, only in the harder part, right? Make soaps, candles, lotions. It's basically a good fat that you can use on anything. So yeah, to the person that has the brother that's a butcher, you better be asking him for some. Oh my gosh, that would be amazing. That would be like a dream come true. I haven't even gone up north to see if I could talk to the butcher yet. I will say that this is a very long process. And if it wasn't like imperative that I finished it, this would definitely be a doable project in the winter. So I could definitely see me using my stove to heat my house and to process this slowly while I was doing my winter chores, which are usually all inside. So today I made bread and I made homemade granola, and I've been cleaning my kitchen and catching up on my emails. Other than that, I won't leave my kitchen when I have hot oil melting on the stove. I just won't. It is time consuming. I'm getting ready to finish my last patch of tallow. I still have one more, but it's a small batch. But I thought you'd want to see this. I'm scooping it in, and this is all we're doing, folks. It is white distilled vinegar, and I'm just going to wipe the lids to make sure that they have a clean, oil-free seal, and clamp them down. So that's it. I guess we just sit here and watch it turn white. It's an actual easy process. I have another couple batches to do, and then in a few days I'll be doing lard, which is pig fat. So it is actually an easy process. It is just very time consuming. So there you go, folks. Thanks for joining me. We will be coming back and doing reviews on both of the which one much later, probably in a year. I'll come on and tell you which one I liked better and how I would process in the future. And that is just for me personally. Everybody does it differently. You guys have a great day. Hello, everybody. I'm doing my last batch of tallow. You know, rendering the beef fat down to make a really cool, usable product. I can't help but look at it and wonder, like, if that's so easy to melt the fat off of a cow, like, why am I so heavy when I lived in the Central California Valley for so many years? I'm being funny this time. So I pressure canned the first batch as a test. The second batch I just table sat canned it. And this one I'm gonna make into molds, because in my research I read that it can be really hard to get out of the jars. So I'm gonna pour them in my beeswax molds, the molds I clarify my beeswax in. Beeswax is edible, so these should work perfect. And that way when I want just so much fat, I can just cut it off with a knife. I hear that's how some people do it. So let's try it, right? This is where I double strain it. I put the crackle bits in here, and then I strain it over a cheesecloth strainer. Where I ladle it into my silicone molds and hope for the best. And there you go. All nice and pretty. And I have a few over here. There. The tallow is officially done. It was 4 batches of tallow. I've now gotten that done. As soon as that hardens, I can package it up and prepare it. And now we got to start on the lard. Might as well get that out now. There you go. I'll be working on this in the next few days. I'm going to let this sit out here to defrost, and then it'll sit in the refrigerator tonight. Thanks for watching, you guys. It's hardened and ready to be wrapped. Absolutely beautiful. It's time to make some lard. Lard is pig fat, and pig fat has a melting point starting at about 85 degrees. So we are going to cut up the fat that I already have really tiny, stick it in the pot behind me, and slow boil it until we've rendered it down. And this is what we have to work with. It's beautiful slabs of fat. This is what your fat should look like. The stuff I did the tallow with was just the scraps, but this is beautiful. We're going to chop it into very small little pieces and stick it in the pot. This way the pieces will melt down and render faster. So I'm going to get working on this. You guys will be right back in a second, like a microsecond. Okay, I have it all in the pot and I'm stirring it. It is set to very low, and I stir it every 15-20 minutes, so I just stay in the kitchen. Gonna make some granola. I am preparing to strain this lard, and this is cheesecloth, and I double it up and then put it in here. I put a little stopper on it and it'll go in the pot. Oh, it's looking so good. So I've strained it, just literally, there's the crackle in there, and now I'm just going to fill it in some jars. It just looks so pretty. Oh. There it is. All labeled and pretty. Look how creamy white it is. I'm done. I'm done. You want to see? Say yes. You have to say yes because this has been a long project and I'm done. I'm going to show you. Whether you want to see it or not, come with me. Remember those 3 boxes of animal fat that was given to me under the condition that I was going to render it into tallow and lard and share 50% of it with the person that gave it to me, right? Well, this is her portion and this is my portion. Now, for those of you that just paused and counted the jars and said they're not even, these right here are 1.5 of these. Everything was even. My husband was watching me. He's like, you're even down to the ounce. I'm like, oh, heck yeah. Because that's the way I am. Let's talk tallow, people. I process the tallow in 3 different ways. I pressure canned tallow. I table canned tallow. Table canning is just filling up the jars, strapping on the lids and letting it sit and cool, and it cans itself, right? It's not technically a preferred canning method when you're talking in the canning world. That's water bath or pressure canning. This was table canned. And then I made bars, tallow bars, so that you just essentially could unwrap them and slice them. Like if you're just putting like ounces, you could just weigh it and, you know, it just seemed like it would be easier. And I also read that some people really preferred that method. However, if you live in a warm climate, you really shouldn't do that because it gets soft in 100-degree weather. 130 is melting point. So you got to weigh your options there. I'm in a temperate rainforest. It's okay for me. You got to look at it again. Look at that. I am so excited. That, people, was a lot of work. All in all, it probably took me 2 solid weeks of doing it, thawing out, cutting up, processing, straining, labeling, cleaning. There you go. But is it doable? I don't know. Because you know me, the next video is going to be all about cost configurations. So let me get to it. Time to package it up. All leftover parts, nice and neat.
I got the backs all packed up. I always put a letter with it just to be nice. You know, my niece always says it's nice to be nice. But we got the figures. Let's talk about them. I've drinking enough coffee. We're going to get right into this because we have no time to spare. Follow along. You're going to need to. I used Amazon as a price comparison for tallow because tallow is so difficult to find in grocery stores. 4 pounds for $32.99 was about the average cheapest price I could find, which was $8.25 a pound. I took Walmart for the lard, which was 8 pounds for $19.32, which turned out to be $2.42 a pound for lard. Since my homemade version was totally free, I ended up finding my kilowatts per hour and finding out how much exactly it was going to cost me in my electricity usage. Strap on a belt buckle. This is where it's going to get fun. Looked up my kilowatts per hour on my electric company's usage, which was 7.93 cents per kilowatt. Then I looked up to see how much my range actually used on my stovetop, which was 1.5 per hour, times that by how many hours it actually took me to make each batch, which was 6, and I got a whopping 72 cents a batch of electricity usage. Took that 72 cents, figured out that I had 5.25 pounds of per batch, divided that by the 72, and I got each pound of lard and tallow, because they're both the same, cost me 14 cents to make. Not factoring in my jars because those are just reusable. I've made my money off those. Now I had 5 batches of tallow and 2 batches of lard, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. Taking my 5 batches of tallow, I took that 5.25 pounds times 5 equals 26.25 cents total poundage. Timesing that by the 8.25 per pound that Amazon charges, and that's $216 of tallow we made. Going on to the lard was 5.25 pounds times 2, because there was 2 batches of the lard, and that's $25.41 when you times it by the $2.42 it costs at Walmart. Now the $216 by the 25 plus the $25.41 gets me a $240.41 total in cost if I was to purchase all of this at a store. Minus the $5.14 that it cost me to make it, that's a $235.27 profit. Now, here is the final amount. Because I was bartering, 50% of it goes back to the person that gave me the fat, which means she got $117.64 of profit in giving me this fat. She raised the animals, I processed the tallow and the lard. I think that's a pretty good deal. I'm actually pleasantly surprised during the whole process because it is long and tedious. Like long and tedious. The whole time I'm thinking, this is not worth it. This is not worth it. Yeah, it's totally worth it. Thanks for watching. Last year for 2022, my whole goal was trying to figure out how I could save money on my grocery bill by turning things that I would normally throw away into edible food. I think I did a pretty good job. So just imagine all those scraps of beef that you would normally throw away in the trash. They're actually a really expensive rendered fat once you process them correctly. So thanks for watching. You guys like, subscribe, and smash the notifications bell so you can be warned when I release another video. Talk to you later.